right, so a lot to unpack here either way as we welcome you into the show. And congratulations to Geno Smith. Mike Tannenbaum is here, Mina Kimes, Adam Schefter, of course, Matt Miller joins us a little bit later on for some draft news. Mina, I'll start with you. What do you think now that we have this deal?
And look, essentially they give Geno Smith a deal that's a little bit more than
Falcons as well?
I am. Look at me. Yeah, this is also, by the way, we'll dive into the draft element of this a little bit later on in the show, too. You don't want to miss that. But it's such a good story, you guys. Geno Smith made 5 starts in 6 seasons total from 2015 to 2020, and then led the NFL in completion percentage with the Seahawks in 2022. So congratulations to Geno Smith and his work that he's done. Now, the Raiders got Geno Smith his deal, but as far as the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson go, there's still a lot to figure out there. Trey Hendrickson spoke yesterday. That's where we go next. All right, let's get Adam back in here. What is going on with Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals right now, Adam?
Well, Laura, it looks like a trade is more unlikely, but the longer this goes on.
Have the Bengals made a mistake here with Hendrickson?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, right? Because
Pass rusher, and again, if I'm the Bengals, I look at that Jacksonville situation for a few years ago, and I have to do everything within reason, Laura, to avoid that.
We brought this up yesterday, too, but this is also an A-plus person. This is a person who makes your locker room better. He makes your team guys on that side of things as well. You just got to figure out some way to get this thing done. All right, let's get to Adam with more news. And, Adam, there was prospect comps with our draft analyst, Matt Miller, joining the show. Matt, today we're going to go receivers. I love this one, okay? We're going to start with Travis Hunter. Of course, he's also a DB. But as a receiver, who's his comp?
Laura, he is the most...
if he were to focus on receiver going forward.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, too, if we're talking about the OBJ comp, OBJ came out of the gate hot. Remember, 90 catches, 1,300 yards in his first 3 seasons, if that's any indication of what we could maybe see from Travis Hunter. All right, Matt, what about Luther Burden?
Yeah, Luther Burden, see them, but I'm still very bullish on Luther Burden being a very, very good receiver in the NFL.
You know, Matt, I see Luther Burden very similar. My comfort.
You too, and having covered Missouri and knowing Coach Drink really well, I think Luther Burden may not be getting enough credit. So I saw your tweet recently where you said, until I'm told otherwise, I'm going to continue on this train. I like that. Let's talk about Matthew Golden, another
I see a lot of those similarities. I'm going to focus on the hands a little bit because in those Garrett Wilson highlights, you saw some one-handed catches.
That last catch that we just saw there was from the Cotton Bowl when he really wasn't much of a factor in that game. He was dealing with an injury. I was on the sideline monitoring it the whole time, and you wonder how different that game would have been had they not had to deal with the injury for Matthew Golden, had he been a presence in that game. It just speaks to his importance to the team. Good point by both of you. All right, coming up next, we're going to get back to the big news of the day, too. Of course, you've seen them mocked a few times, picking a wide receiver there. I would love that, considering. Yeah, let's ask Matt, actually. Matt, you're still here. What big receiver? Very practical, but I will say that our producer Susan just said in my ear that she liked mine better. I'm not sure Ted McMillan's going to still be there at 16, but sorry, Matt. All right, let's continue on. We got a lot to get to. Still ahead on the show, we're going to talk about get to the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, all of the above.
Yeah, you know what's so tricky with the Ravens?
Defense.
I'm sorry, Mike, but if you're not familiar with Derek Harmon and you just saw that video, he looks like he's 3 times the size of every other person on the field. But just so many stories from drafts, and this one we wanted to zero in on because, Mike, you were the executive vice president for the Dolphins during that draft.
Opportunity for us.
All's well that ends well for Tunsil, and maybe for you in this case, a 5-time Pro Bowler. He's cashed over $120 million in his career. So interesting stuff there. All right, let's turn our attention to tomorrow. It's a big day at Colorado. What are you hearing about the possibility that Shedeur goes in the top 3 showcase, of course, tomorrow, and we'll see a ton of video from it. If you're an interested team in Shedeur Sanders, what do you want to see from him tomorrow?
Intangibles, leadership.
He obviously didn't work out at the Combine, but you did see that presence, that electricity that just goes around with him everywhere. I'm sure that will be even elevated tomorrow at his home stadium and amongst all of his people. We'll see you, of course, tomorrow, that Colorado Showcase.